It's a cultural show today as we take you behind the works of a few artisans who set up shop in the newly opened Falmouth Artisan Village. Plus, we'll help you to make the right choice as you seek to put your child with special needs in a program this summer. These and so much more will unfold after the news of the day, so stay with us. I'm Adrian Atkinson and this is Jamaica Magazine.
More of your money is now tax-free? Know that the income tax threshold has been increased. Your government is looking after you responsibly, so our economy can do even more for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, June 27, 2024. The government is to acquire 33 new water pumps as part of plans to increase access to the commodity in communities across the island. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement during a recent tour of work being done in Pimento Walk, Ocho Rios.
So what the government is doing, we're looking at our pumps and we're trying to order in advance. So there is an order for our 33 pumps on order. 33 new pumps are on order, which will serve communities just like this one. And I believe it's about $20 million. $20 million for one of these pumps. So you can just imagine the budget that the government is putting forward to ensure that small rural communities like these can have the basics.
Mr. Holness also informed the residents that designated ministers from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation have been tasked with visiting communities to identify road and water challenges they are facing.
And see how best from the limited national budget with so many other demands on it to make sure that even the basics are available.
The government has unveiled a groundbreaking virtual platform, the Jamaica Diaspora Engagement Model, JAMDEM, which aims to enhance connectivity globally. The platform was officially launched during the recently concluded 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference. It was created in partnership with the International Organization for Migration, IOM, and the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ. JAMDEM will serve as a secure virtual space that can be accessed through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs website for enhanced connectivity between the government and the diaspora.
It is a fact that the diaspora has been for years asking for ways to receive curated investment information. They say, we want to know how we can invest, where we can invest. And we don't want to have to fly down to find out. And this JAMDEM portal will deliver that.
The Diaspora Registration Portal, dubbed Connect Me JA, was also launched during the conference. Developed in collaboration with the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, Connect Me JA is a mobile app that's designed to map the diaspora and facilitate better communication between Jamaicans and their government. This platform will provide valuable information for Jamaicans living abroad and encourage user participation by offering incentives. It requires people to enter their name, country of residence, and email address to be actively engaged.
The young people here asking, if I want to connect with someone in the diaspora, an organization, or if I'm moving overseas and I want to see what's happening over there, how can I connect? Connect Me JA will allow that opportunity now.
The third women's shelter is expected to be up and running before the end of the current financial year. Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, gave the update as part of her sectoral presentation in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
These shelters, established with the help of the European Union, UNFPA and UN Women, among others, provide hope for a better life. Any of us could become a victim of domestic violence. Anybody, any one of us. Yeah. But none of us should stay in that situation. And help is now available. So, my sisters, take that step. Call or text us on 876-553-0372 or 876-236-1713. We will help.
She says the two shelters already in operation have had a positive impact on the lives of women fleeing violence.
The environment is therapeutic. We have counselors. We offer legal services. We have trainers who have developed various programs to help women earn and become financially independent. Women in one shelter are earning from a strawberry farm that they have established, while others are earning from jewelry making and other skills that they have learned.
The first government-owned shelter for women was opened in October 2020 to provide a haven for abused women and their children. Progress is being made on the submission of outstanding financial reports from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Permanent Secretary Dunstan Bryan made the pronouncement during the ministry's recent virtual press briefing. He was responding to questions raised in the public domain regarding the ministry's non-compliance with the Financial Administration and Audit Act for the submission of appropriation accounts since 2013. Mr. Bryan says the team at the ministry has registered more than 300 extra hours of work in a bid to have the matter addressed. He says the appropriation accounts for 2 departments have been completed and certified by the internal audit units.
At the beginning of this process, we set up a program, a project to bring us up to date with the appropriation accounts. Already, I've spent over $40 million in overtime and overtime payments for the regularization of the appropriation accounts. We have regularized the Bellevue Hospital, and we have also regularized the government chemist department. We are regularizing within the next 2 months, financial years 2020, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23.
He adds that the ministry's team also prepared 90% of the statements for up to March 31, 2022. However, these have not been certified by the internal auditors as per the requirement of the FAA Act due to errors with the legacy accounting software, Finman, among other things. Some issues include unsigned payment vouchers by officers no longer employed to the ministry due to death, resignation, and retirement, and the unwillingness of the current staff to validate and verify transactions and statements outside of the period of their service. The Permanent Secretary says despite system-related errors and the significant challenges of the backlog, the ministry is seized with the importance of addressing the issues using appropriate channels.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness is committed to bringing these accounts up to date because we are committed to transparency and accountability in how we do business.
The Ministry of Education and Youth is reminding the public that general transfers of students between schools are not accommodated, except under specific adverse circumstances. The policy is intended to maintain stability in educational placements and ensure alignment with academic processes. Parents and guardians seeking to transfer students entering high school through the primary exit profile PEP placement process are urged to follow the established procedures carefully. According to a recent bulletin from the ministry, the transfer process requires the following steps. The school accepting the student must issue a letter to the parent or guardian, a copy of which should be presented to the school where the child was initially placed through the PEP process. The initial school will provide a release letter, which, along with the acceptance letter, must include the child's name and student registration number, SRN, as listed on the PEP student report. The parent or guardian must draft a letter addressed to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education and Youth requesting approval for the transfer. This letter should include the child's name and SRN and is to be accompanied by the acceptance and release letters. These documents must be submitted to the ministry's relevant regional office. For more information on the transfer process, individuals can contact any of the regional directors or send an email to pepaction@moey.gov.jm. And finally, Minister with responsibility for the environment, Senator Matthew Samuda, says there needs to be a shift in culture to protect our marine life. He was addressing a recent World Oceans Day ceremony. The minister insists that our fishing practices over the last 40 years have not reflected the most progressive approach for sustainability, and as a result, species that were commonly found in our waters 50 years prior have gone extinct. He says the solution will need a collective approach.
There are also some matters that the government, private sector, NGOs, academia need to have a frank discussion with the public on. One is going to be net size. The other is going to be no-take zones. It's a standard practice globally to allow for fish stocks to recover. Now, these sorts of solutions come with huge, early, immediate economic consequences. So what it requires is a national consensus and a national discussion with all stakeholders to get the public in the space, firstly to listen, secondly to agree, and thirdly to work to implement.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Jamaicans, practice proper disposal of garbage, and if items can be reused, recycle them. We all have a part to play in protecting our environment from pollution. We are building Jamaica.
Have you ever seen some art and craft pieces and wondered what's the story behind them or why the artists chose to go into that field? Well, if you ever make it to the Falmouth Artisan Village, Jamaica's newest attraction and marketplace, the artists' stories are as captivating as the pieces they produce. Here are two of them.
I create crocheted toys, jewelry, and home decor. I do toys for all ages, from newborns to even adults. I do collector's items, which can be personalized or customized for retail and wholesale purposes. Moni's Voice started over 5 years ago. I was in a very dark place mentally. I had just gotten out of an abusive relationship. I was a new single mom, no job, nowhere to live. I was with family, and I needed something to get me out of that mental space. And so I decided to teach myself to crochet so I could make something for my daughter, something just to get me out of that depressive state. And I ended up making a baby hat, a beanie. I did a crochet beanie. It took me a couple days to get one that could actually be worn. And when it was finished, she wore it to daycare. And the aunties and the other moms there loved it. And when I told them the story behind it, they started sharing their domestic violence experience. And when I shared it online, other people started sharing their experience with me. People started asking me to make things. I was brand new to crocheting. I went on YouTube and taught myself to make basically everything you see here. Taught myself to read crochet patterns and even taught myself to design new patterns. From then, the business has grown all on its own basically, and I have been growing with it. Not only has my crochet skills been growing, but my domestic advocacy and the mission behind Moni's Voice has been growing to the point where we're looking to collaborate with different local partners and communities to help other survivors and victims. So the name behind Moni's Voice, my middle name, a part of my middle name is Moni. That is what my abuser used to call me. It was his pet name for me. And my daughter ended up getting, a part of her name is also Moni. So me naming the business Moni's Voice, it's my way of taking a negative and turning it into a positive. So that negative connotation that I had of the name Moni, it's me using it to encourage someone else to say, hey, this has been my story. This is how I'm using it to raise my voice, to help you to raise your voice so we can end the stigma.
It's funny, one day Miss Carol Rose Brown had called me and asked me if I'd be interested in having a shop on the Falmouth Pier. And I was very excited, very interested also. You know, the journey where the Art Center is coming from, this is actually a game changer for the center in the sense of the oomph that we need to move forward. These local made products that you see here in the shop here are all handmade, authentic by artisans from the community. This is a great opportunity that TEF has having showcasing Jamaican artisans and also the Jamaican authentic art products. You know, our craft products are very unique and, you know, it's different. Tourists react to our products that it brings a sense of, you know, awareness to our culture, the look of our culture. I have to, you know, give hats off to the team and everybody around the team that has played a significant part in making this whole venture happen. It's long overdue. Our islands, our shores are overflowing with, you know, products from all over the world except, you know, Jamaica. There's very few Jamaican products in our craft stores throughout the tourist sector on the North Coast, from Negril to Ochi. I'm really honored, really, you know, proud, overwhelmed, all the things that's in the good nature of what is being brought forward right now. TEF hosting this Artisans Village. It's going to bring a great awareness to the artisans themselves, to Falmouth, Trelawney. We need a sense of, you know, moving forward. We want to know that we're going to achieve. We're not just going to start something and not come to the climax of it. And this is a great climax for Jamaica, for the locals, the artisans, even the locals. When I say the locals, I mean the locals have a chance to see Jamaican, authentic Jamaican products. It's a super, super significant thing to be bringing something from not just a country, but from a community that's world-renowned. People are like, it's to the world. People, from they hear, you know, Bob Marley, or they say Trenchtown, from they hear any of the icons that they're familiar with, like Alton Ellis, Trenchtown right away. So, you know, the brand, it's a brand, and the brand is very special to myself and, you know, to the artisans that are producing or hand making these products. I would just love for everybody to, if you get the chance to come down to the Artisan Village in Falmouth, Trelawney, and experience some of our authentic Jamaican products sold out of the Trenchtown shop and the other shops here that are available to the public.
Crime and violence is infecting our youth. We must work together to rescue them from the gangs, engage them in productive activities, and safeguard Jamaica's future.
Children with special needs require an environment with special activities tailored to their needs and specialized teachers trained to cater to their functionalities. And so, as you choose a program to engage your child this summer, think or act on these tips.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the show that gives you information on the latest topics. It's summertime, and among the usual activities is summer school. This may be a bit more easy or accessible if your child has no particular special need. Well, what about those children who do? Here's hoping that today's program will provide some answers for them. Today we're talking with Associate Clinical Psychologist Marlon Simpson. Now, he's the director of Loving Minds Associates and has worked with children with special needs for the past 15 years. Mr. Simpson is a certified autism spectrum disorder therapist, and he specializes in neuropsychology, working with children and adults on the spectrum. Welcome to the program, Mr. Simpson.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, let's jump right into getting some facts here. Now, summertime, summer school, parents are looking for an appropriate program. My child has special needs. In your experience, what are some of the greatest challenges parents with children of special needs face in finding and selecting an appropriate program?
Usually, two main issues. One is finding persons who are trained to deal with children with special needs. So it's not just somebody who has a summer school and can do that.
So send them come.
No, that's not how it works. And so one of the other things that's going to be important is having even teachers who understand each child, what each child's need.
Right.
So even two persons with autism, for example, autism spectrum, they may have two different presentations. So we want to ensure that each child is catered to carefully in these programs.
So the method to address, especially even that last one, is invest in trained personnel.
Right.
Not just people who are willing, but actually trained.
Trained, right.
Okay. All right, so what about the common needs? Now, I know that this isn't an exhaustive list, but you've mentioned autism, so let's use that as an example. What are some of the common needs or challenges that children with special needs like that might have when it comes to a summer school or a summer camp environment?
All right, so a lot of children on the spectrum, so autism spectrum, usually have sensory challenges. So either they are very sensitive or they need stimulation. So you'll find them either hitting their heads or they're covering their ears because something is too loud. So it's, again, understanding the child, what's happening with him or her, and then working with them. But in addition to that, you have to understand that a lot of them also act through instinct. So you can't just treat a child on the spectrum as any other child and expect them to behave in a particular way.
Right.
So it's understanding them wholly and solely, individually.
I like how you said that a while ago, and the training comes back into play very heavily.
Right.
Very heavily here. Now, okay, so let's talk about the activities then. What sort of activities or structure is useful for continuing this example, but perhaps you can broaden it a little bit for children with common special needs as we know them?
All right, so another example would be children who have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So some may not be able to sit still, some lose attention very easily. So finding a program where if a child can't sit still, allow him or her to run up and down for a little bit.
And that's the program.
That's the program. Engaging them. But again, it comes down to the training. Who are the persons there? Can they handle these kinds of behaviors?
Right. Okay. And, I'm very curious about the strategies that these programs, you have to, in formulating a program, you have to think about all of this prior to the program, don't it?
Right.
It can't be an underground.
Oh, no. No. So the person who is doing the training or working with children with special needs has to have a background in understanding children with special needs.
Right.
But also coming to the fore is the thought that you have to engross yourself in the situation, understand the children. And so the programs are going to be defined or coordinated around these special needs. So, all right, so if you're going to be dealing with children who have autism and ADHD, fine. You want to have things where there's ample space.
Yes. Okay.
Play areas. You want to have areas where children can just express themselves freely. If they want to scream, let them scream. If they want to shout, let them shout. And not try to control or have too strict a set of curriculum guidelines to go through, per se.
Right. And we've been talking about the trained personnel, and I know that some schools and camps, maybe even most, would have a mixed population. Maybe they're not all specialist schools. What ratio would you say trained personnel need to be in these schools? Like 1, 2?
I would say maximum 5 to 1. So 1 teacher to 5 children with special needs.
Oh, okay.
Because of the range of situations that you're going to encounter. So if we go back to autism, for example, there are 3 levels of autism. So one that's closer to what we call neurotypicals. They can go in regular schools, they just have problems with communication and speech. You have level 2, a little bit more challenges, level 3, severe.
Yeah.
So even in that, it's figuring out who do we pair, how do we put the different children together.
Okay. Yeah, I firmly believe that you're giving some summer school teachers who are watching right now a lot of good info, you know, maybe things that they hadn't thought about before. But let's talk from the provider's perspective. How do I, when formulating this program, how do I judge success? You know, by what metrics should I be looking at to say, hey, this was good for them and useful?
Funny enough, I think that parents should be involved in some of these programs as well. So you don't just send the child and then you pick them up at the end of the day. It's, let me see what some of the activities are. Let me see how my child is responding.
Be there.
Be there. And engage with the teachers as well. You know, so some of the curriculum activities could involve the parents as well. So when the parents go home, they can say, I can continue what my child learned in summer school at home.
So the parents get a benefit from the program as well. On that note, you've gotten some very good tips on choosing a summer program for your little ones this summer. Take key note of what Mr. Simpson has laid out for us. It is an investment that is worth it. This has been Get the Facts, and I'll see you next time.
Young Jamaicans up to 35, your government will reserve up to 10% of NHT housing solutions over the next 5 years, just for you with 100% financing up to 15 million Jamaican dollars. This is how we are empowering and breaking the cycle of poverty meaningfully. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Let us resolve our family disputes peacefully. A family is a circle of love, support, and strength. Violence has no place.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.